You come into this world squalling, and it's not in some clean hospital with soft lullabies. Nope, you're in a cramped shack on the edge of a ramshackle frontier settlement. No real doctor here, just a midwife who's patched up more snake bites than she's read medical books. The air smells like stale sweat and horse manure, blowing into your tiny lungs with each miserable breath. Welcome to the Wild West, where fresh start means you're already coated in dust and despair. Forget hygiene. Your mom spent the day slogging through dirt roads, and the bucket that passes for your baptismal font has more grit than water. Soap is a rare luxury, and the closest thing to a bath is a muddy creek. Your newborn body is a playground for germs, and your immune system hasn't even found its bearings yet. If you manage to survive infancy, toddlerhood turns into immediate servitude. Play with rag dolls? Dream on. You start hauling water and chasing chickens the moment you can walk without toppling over. By age 3, you have blistered hands. By 4, you learn that rattlesnakes do not share a toddler's sense of curiosity. Your childhood is basically a daily battle with chores and critters. Disease runs rampant. Back east, there might be doctors or actual hospitals, but here, medical knowledge boils down to whiskey, leeches, and someone's grandma's miracle herbs. If you wake up coughing, by nightfall it could be fever, ague, or some ominous badness with no clear remedy. Your parents might dunk you in foul-smelling broth, have you chew tree bark, or sniff steaming tar. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. By the time you're 6 or 7, you're staggering under buckets of water and stumbling over dusty terrain while cattle crowd around you in clouds of grit. Your everyday scenery is a lifeless palette of browns, a never-ending desert hush broken only by scorpions, snakes, or the occasional flurry of wind slamming dirt into your face. Meals are monotonous. If you hate beans, you're out of luck, because your diet might revolve around them alongside hardtack and jerky so tough it could outlast a rattler's fangs. Once in a blue moon, you might luck into some old venison, but fresh fruits and veggies are practically unicorns. It's not unusual to chew with sore gums and spit a little blood. It's just a part of a frontier day. As for wildlife, the majesty of horses and paintings doesn't reflect the reality of being thrown off one before you hit age 5. Coyotes and wolves serenade you at night, more eerie than comforting. Scorpions crawl into your boots, rattlesnakes lurk under rocks. There's no survival guide pinned to your door. Trial and error is the only teacher, and it's painful. Law and order? Best not rely on it. Some towns might boast a sheriff, but more often than not, he's playing cards with the same outlaws he should be arresting. Justice belongs to whoever has the fastest draw and the best aim. If you get caught stealing a chicken for dinner, you might swing from the gallows before anyone bothers with a trial. One wrong step or misunderstood gesture can spark a gunfight in seconds. Neighbors, a wild mix of grizzled prospectors, con men, snake oil peddlers, and drifting souls who haven't bathed since Lincoln wore short pants. Trust is dangerous currency here. Suspicion is your daily bread. By age 10, you can spot a scam from a mile away. Or at least you think you can. Every handshake feels like a trap. Travel doesn't come easy. If your family tries to relocate a few miles for better water or the rumor of gold, you cram into a creaking wagon that bounces over dirt paths unworthy of the name road. One broken wheel and you're stuck in the middle of nowhere, with wolves tuning up for a nighttime chorus. There's no cavalry on speed dial. Only your own limited luck and the hope the animals don't get too curious. Meanwhile, native tribes look on with justifiable resentment. Settlers fence off land, scare away buffalo, and act like they own the plains. Tensions can explode out of nowhere, and you're too young to grasp the tragedy unfolding. Your parents might demonize the tribes, but you sense this conflict goes beyond good guys and bad guys. Broken treaties, stolen territory, and raw survival swirl around you in a constant undertow. Education. If you're incredibly fortunate, there's a one-room schoolhouse with a teacher who might read slightly better than you do. Otherwise, your lessons come from your parents, who might only know the bare essentials themselves. No libraries, labs, or museums. You learn which plants might kill you, which might cure you, and how to recognize the sound of a rattlesnake before it strikes. If you ever get your hands on a worn copy of some classic text, that's a day of wonder, but such luxuries rarely make it this far west. Entertainment is almost non-existent. No radios, no TVs, no comic books. Maybe you can sneak into a saloon if you're old enough or just tall enough to not be noticed. Most evenings, your only option is to watch tumbleweeds drift by or gaze up at the stars. They're the only free light show you'll ever get. Bathing? In your dreams. Water is too precious to waste on anything but drinking, cooking, and the occasional necessary rinse. Soap is expensive, so you rely on a quick scrub in the creek when you can. You'll probably reach your teens with a permanent layer of grime and a head full of lice that practically pay rent. Spare a coin for soap or a bullet for the next rattlesnake? The bullet usually wins. The weather alternates between scorching heat and bone-chilling cold. Swelter by day, freeze by night. Dust storms can whip your face raw, and drought can turn the land into tinder. Then, without warning, torrential rains flood everything you own. No forecasters, no warnings, nature just decides your fate on a whim. By the time you're 20, if you're that lucky, you've likely lost friends to disease, a stray bullet, or plain misfortune. Women are expected to marry young, churn out kids, and keep the roof from leaking. Men might spend their days in back-breaking ranch work, in mines prone to cave-ins, or at a blacksmith's forge. Your bones ache, your soul sags, and you would pawn your last bit of dignity for a decent bath and a meal without beans. Old age is a pipe dream. If you reach 35, you're ancient. Your body is carved with scars and regrets, each one telling a story nobody wants to hear. Work until you die. That's the plan. There's no pension, no restful retirement, just one more day of pushing through. Until you catch a bullet in a dusty saloon or collapse under the weight of too much hardship. Why did it suck to be born in the Wild West? Because from your first breath, stale, manure-scented, and full of dust, the odds were stacked against you. Comfort wasn't even on the horizon. Life was a gambler's toss every day. From disease to drought to loaded guns. You might fantasize about a future with indoor plumbing and fresh produce, but that wasn't your hand. You got the cactus-littered frontier, and you had no choice but to play it.